Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, I'm going to continue with the question and answers in this week's videocast. And one that's come up a number of times is about international Zionism. And I've been writing about this for a long time because it is vitally important. And there are many elements to it, but the one that needs emphasizing from the start is that to talk about Zionism is not necessarily to talk about Jewish people, because there are significant numbers of Jewish people who are not Zionists, and many who vehemently oppose Zionism. There are Jewish organizations set up to do just that. Jewish people and Zionism are not necessarily the same thing, because Zionism is a political movement within Jewish people which has taken over so much of Jewish society. In fact, almost completely dominates it, to the point where the general population think that when you're talking about and challenging Zionism, you are being anti-Jewish. For me, anyone that reads my books about reality will see that, to me, racism and judging people by their body, for whatever reason, is not only grotesque, it's bloody stupid. It's ridiculous. We are consciousness having an experience of a reality through the vehicle to experience that reality. And once you start judging people by the nature of their vehicle, it's a bit like being prejudiced against a guy in a spacesuit because it's a different color to yours and was made by a different manufacturer somewhere else in the world. Madness. But that's what racism is. It's stupidity and a complete misunderstanding of self, life, and everything. And racism is not something you are born with. It's something that is developed through programmed ignorance and prejudice. I mean, you put children of different colours and backgrounds together, little babies, and they'll get on fine. But you put them together as adults a few decades later, and they might not get on fine at all. In fact, they might be going to war with each other, might be being prejudiced against each other. And if you are born, for instance, into a Jewish family, into a Muslim family, or into a Christian family, you are far more likely to follow the religion of Judaism, or the religion of Islam, or the religion of Christianity than you are if you're not born into those families. And in the same way, if you are brought up in a community that is prejudiced, or a family that's prejudiced on the basis of race, then you are far more likely to be racist yourself in the same way. It's all programming, it's all reality downloading. So let's get that out of the way first of all. When I challenge international Zionism, and I do vehemently, I'm not being anti-Jewish, I'm being anti the agenda and the actions of international Zionism, which is a political movement created by the House of Rothschild. And the creation of the State of Israel was not for the benefit of Israelis and Jewish people living in Israel. It was for the benefit of an international agenda of which international Zionism is a very important part. And it's based, for a start, on a lie. The lie that Jewish people today have any historical connection to the land called Israel. You've only got to look, and I've detailed it in my own books, but you've only got to look at Jewish historians who've produced their research to show that what we call Jewish people today overwhelmingly came from a people called the Khazars in the Caucasus part of the world, around what is now Georgia. And when the Khazar Empire was in place, the Kagan, or king, had a mass conversion to Judaism for various reasons. And you note that the king of Khazaria was called Kagan. And that's why Kagan is such a common and obvious Jewish name today. And when you follow this history, when the Khazar Empire broke up, the people moved northwards into Russia and into the countries that we now would call Europe and Eastern Europe, and then west into Germany. And they were the people that suffered under the Nazis. They were the people after the war that moved, not least thanks to the manipulation of the House of Rothschild, to America, and particularly through the manipulation of the House of Rothschild, to what is now called Israel. And it's based on the idea that the biblical people and Israelites are the same people as Jewish people today. They're not, as even Jewish historians have said and written. So the whole thing about Zionism, which is based on a political movement to create a homeland for Jewish people in Israel on the basis of them having an historical right to it, is bollocks. So the whole foundation of it is bollocks. And what you have is not just a political movement where people call themselves Zionists because they support that philosophy of a homeland for Jewish people in Israel on the basis of an historical lie. At its core, it's a secret society. And it's a secret society that does not have the best interests of Jewish people at heart. They are as much fodder to be used and abused and hung out to dry by the secret society at the inner core of Zionism as any other people. And the way the treatment of Jewish people in Germany by the Nazis was grotesquely exploited by the Rothschilds and their fellow members of this Zionist secret society, was just a horrific example of what I mean. It was exploited to create the long-term goal of a homeland for Jews in Israel, not for the benefit of them, but for the benefit of the Rothschild agenda.